Hey YouTube, Shitobi here with a review of the Power Rangers Samurai 4-inch Wave 3. This is technically like Wave 6 or something, going off their case assortments, but it's the third set of figures. So, we have 3 of the super modes, red, blue, and green. Those are what happens when they use the black box morpher, and they get a coat and stuff. That should have been in the show already, but they delayed it to the second season because that's how they roll. And then we also have normal mode yellow and pink, as well as Master Xandred. So we'll go ahead and start with the dudes. Here is super mode red. I love the way these guys look with Bandai of America style figure. It's basically just a 4-inch Red Ranger that we took a look at a couple days ago, just with this coat on. It is both over the figure and molded onto the figure. The gold straps right here are molded onto the figure, while the coat itself is a separate piece attached to the body of the figure. It can't come off or anything like that. It's pretty tight on there, but still it is a little bit separate from the figure. So articulation is the same as the other figures. However, because of the shoulder pad on the coat, he can't raise his hand any higher than that. Or that. But the articulation's still there, and there's still that swivel right there at the glove. There we go. Leg articulation is the same. My Jayden has this thing where if you push his leg down, it just kind of goes ploop, back out. So he's always stuck in a wide spread stance. But yeah, same articulation on the legs, obviously hindered by the coat itself. So you can't get too crazy of poses, but you can get some decent enough ones to pull off something. The Shinkenmaru, or the spin sword, is pretty much the same, just with the giant black box attached to it. It is very oversized. Black box isn't that big compared to the spin sword, but it's close enough to be pretty cool. No paint on it or anything like that, but the fact that the weapon at least looks like it's supposed to look is a plus. And then those can just peg right in as normal here, and then pop right out as always. Samurai's holder right there. And the best part is the back has the kanji for Shin, which is true, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the kanji that's on the disc for super mode, and that's fully tampoed on there. So, bravo! We finally get some paint in the back and a nice little tampograph right there. So I think the super modes look really nice in figure form. We got the Shiba logo right there, and I just love the way that these overall look. It makes the coats, which I never really liked too much, look pretty awesome. I think it's because of the flowingness of it, but I like the way those guys look. I really do. So we'll set him here if he can stand. Here's Kevin, Blue Ranger. Same exact figure, just with the blue coloring and the blue head sculpt. So I'm not going to bother going over anything like that. Coats are all in the same fashion. Everything is pretty much identical. And then lastly, we have Mike Green. And once again, completely identical. I don't know why he's holding his blade, but I just wanted some differentiation. So here's Emily. These are pretty much, like I said in the guys for Wave 2, remolds of the MMPR 2010 female figures. They have that same V-cut in the skirt right here. Her boobs are ginormous compared to the actual characters in the show. So, honestly, the boobs gave it away, that they're the same figure. But, spin sword right here. And just like the other normal modes, she comes with a different weapon than she should. This is basically a classic boomerang version of the Earth Slicer, I guess you could say. I'm disappointed in the fact that the guys got 5-disc mega weapons. whereas this is still a single disc weapon. So that's a little bit disappointing. I was looking forward to a 5-disc version of the Earth Slicer and the Sky Fan, but obviously we're not going to get one because they gave us this instead. So obviously those weapons are going to go by the wayside in my display, but you can just give her the Earth Slicer from Mega Mode Yellow, which is what I'm going to do in my display. So, but overall, they don't look too bad. Again, they're incredibly thin with incredibly big boobs. So they're not quite as accurate as the guys in terms of sculpt to show. But the figure itself is still pretty good. Articulation isn't hindered too bad by the skirt, but this is about as far as you can go with the leg articulation. There's that swivel in the boot, as always, the swivel in the glove, and then the full-on articulation that all the guys have as well, plus the head, which is pretty much just a rotating back and forth. There's a little bit of movement up and down, but not too much. So yeah, and they're not bad figures. I just wish they looked a little bit more normal. Here's Pink, same exact mold except pink. She comes with this pointy version of the Sky Fan, which pretty much is kind of no longer a fan, but more of just like a trident tip of death. But once again, single disc, I assume. I see no disc in here. I assume it's in here somewhere, but yeah, there's no visible disc on here at all. So, who knows. Again, I wish we had a mega version of the Sky Fan, but alas, she can't even hold this properly, so that's why mine is holding it really stupid. Come on, Mia. Stay. And here is Master Xandred. I didn't like him at first, because the initial pictures made his color very, very vibrant, but looking at him in person... Totally hit the camera. Looking at him in person, the colors are fairly accurate to the show. I think the red is a little bit too red, but what looked to be pure black, it actually does have some brown hints to it. And the purple used is more of a purpley as opposed to a bluish color that showed up in the initial pictures. So he does look a lot better in person than he did in the pictures I've seen on the web. But he comes with his sword with the dragon on it. It suffered Bandai of America toy packing syndrome. So we'll have to kind of try to fix that. But that just fits comfortably in his hand. You can give him Mooger swords and stuff if you want to as well. And like that. Articulation, he has the same as everyone else actually. But his shoulder pads make it so where he can't do anything past this, despite having the articulation for it. But he can raise his arm. His legs are hindered by his giant butt flap things here. So you got this going on. And then the bend right there. And swiveling, and there's no arm swivel. So you kind of get gypped there. But overall, I like the Xandred figure. I'm glad that we got one. So now we have a Mooger, Decker, and Xandred. I'm only going to assume that the next wave of figures might come with Akumaro. English name, it starts with an SH. It's not Shredder, but it's something else along the lines of that. I assume we might get a figure of him and maybe a figure of Dayu if they're polite and want to give us most of the team. We'll probably see an Octoroo at some point too, I would imagine. He's like, I'm like, shut up. But anyway, the Xandred figure is pretty nice, even if it looks like he's got a face on his crotch. You got two eyes right here, kind of like a nose right there, and then a mouth. So he's got a face on his crotch. He's also got a face here with two eyes and a mouth right here, and then a nose right there. So he's got like 10 faces on his chest, and then he's got like this dead goat face on his chest here too. So Xandred's a kind of a spooky ass person. He's got a face on his crotch. But regardless, the figure isn't too bad. Decker still wins for the best, there goes Mike. The best villain figure, I think, so far. Though Xandred's a pretty nice job, and so is the Mooger. So they did a pretty good job on the villains this time around. Then again, the MMPR 2010 line did too, so I can't fault them too bad. Xandred has a lot of standing issues because of his giant butt flaps and shoulder flaps and stuff. So he's got some issues standing, but overall this line is really nice. We have the super modes, the other two normal modes for the girls, plus a Xandred figure. So if you've been collecting the line up to this point, I see no reason to skip these, particularly the two girls, so you can complete your normal mode display. There's currently no word on what the next wave is going to be. If I had to take a wild guess, I would say super modes of the girls. They'd have to figure out how to sculpt those. I think that's what's taking them so long. Super modes of the girls. We still need the Shark Attack version of Red. We could get Octoroo. We could get the Dayu. We can get the American version of Akumaru. We can get the super mega modes as well. We can get the mega mode of the Shark Attack. So there's still lots of figures that they can do for the fourth and I think final set of figures for this line. We usually get 2 a year, and this is the first one for 2012. So we'll see how it goes. Looking forward to the future of this line because I really do like these 4-inch scale figures. As much as I miss the 5-inch figures to death, these aren't that bad of figures, and really we're getting some pretty nice details out of them in my opinion. So definitely recommend it if you've been keeping up with the line. And pretty good job, Bandai. So you can check out shukenshobi.com for all the latest updates on my reviews. And of course, check out RidersRangersandRebels.com for the latest toku news in the craziest way possible. So take care and have a great one. Bye.